We have just arrived in Olympia, Greece, you know, where the Olympics started. And look who pulled in next to us is Celebrity Constellation. Another beautiful celebrity ship, which we are enjoying. And we are getting ready to explore this beautiful place right now. Good morning, we're in Katakolo today in Greece, heading to Olympia. And we're gonna do the check-in here for the excursions. The excursions we picked was this one, Ancient Olympia and Archaeological Museum with free time.
Receive the stickers, please regroup, take a seat in the middle section or the very top as we will be exiting from the opposite side. In order to go ashore in Katakolo, you will need your shore excursion ticket, your sea pass card and a photo ID. Photo ID is a recommendation in all the European ports, but can also be a copy on your phone. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us just now, please make sure to check in for your excursions, and we are inviting all guests up until and inclusive of group 6 to proceed ashore.
Cute wall. Nice here, destination gateway. Can grab some water here if you're going to take with you. We're in Greece, everybody. Heading to Olympia now. All the buses numbered. Ours number 8, and it's gonna be this one.
Alexander, I'm the guide. Our very polite driver is Mr. Nectarios. We are going to Olympia, as you know. Our excursion lasts about from what time is it now? It's 8 o'clock, so we are punctual. We have to be back to the port at around 20 past 1. Okay. I don't know if you know where we are exactly on the map. Do you know where we are? So we are on the Peloponnese. As you probably know, the Peloponnese is the southernmost part of the Balkans. It's a peninsula, and here we are in the western part. So you see, it's a fertile area. Here we joke about this area in the Peloponnese, because I also come from the Peloponnese. I come from the center of the Peloponnese, the mythical land of Arcadia. I don't know if you know. Arcadia is the land of the shepherds, supposedly the land where everyone lived happy and carefree. And it's the realm of god Pan. You know Pan, the one who was half man, half goat. So I come from the Arcadia, which is in the center. And a lot of people from my area have come here because this area is not fertile, it's all rocks, it's a rocky area. And they have come here to work in the fields, and they settled here. And here in the area there are a lot of villages created by the people who come from my area. And also people here have come from other parts of the Peloponnese. That's why we make a joke and we say that this area is the United States of the Peloponnese, because you have people from all over the Peloponnese. And because it's a fertile area, it hasn't lost a big part of its population. Unfortunately, most of the people leave the countryside and they go to big cities. They go to Athens. In Athens, you know, we have half the population of Greece. Greece is a small country of 11 million people, and almost 4 million people live in the area of Attica. But this area, because it's fertile, has kept its population. You can see olive groves here on the left. We pick olives here from October until, even in some places, until February. So to take the things from the beginning, As I told you, we are going to visit the Archaeological Site of Olympia, then we'll walk to the museum, we'll visit the museum, then we'll have for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes free time there in an area where you can drink something and have a refreshment or eat something. And then we'll go to a more specialized shop in the center of the small village where they have jewelry, etc. You can, if you want, you can buy something.
Jewelry.
So I told you that here we are in Elis. Elis in ancient times was not an area which was important from a political point of view, because it was far away from the main centers of the political life of ancient Greece. People have been living in the area since the Stone Age, you know. Stone in Greek is lithos, and we have the Neolithic period, the later phase of the Stone Age. We are talking about the 4th millennium. People in Greece have been living for more than 80,000 years before our times. We have the Paleolithic, the Mesolithic, the Middle Stone Age, and the Neolithic, which is very important everywhere in Greece.
That like
Scholars, archaeologists talk about the Neolithic revolution because people stopped being hunters and food gatherers, and they settled down. This means they can have a more advanced civilization, and people lived in this area since the 4th millennium BC. Later, people start using metal, and they use bronze, which, as you know, is an alloy of copper and zinc. And we have the very important Bronze Age in Greece. We have 3 important civilizations. The Minoan civilization, you know, on Crete, on the island of Crete. Are you visiting Crete? No. You know, Crete is down south. It's the 5th biggest island of the Mediterranean. It's a very important civilization with magnificent works of art, with frescoes full of color, very advanced architecture, and very famous for the myth of the labyrinth, the Minotaur. And it's called Minoan because of King Minos. I don't know if you know who the mother of King Minos was according to the mythology. Who was the mother of King Minos? She was Evropi, Europa. The word Evropi is the name of the Greek mythology. And of course his father was Zeus, you know. Zeus, Jupiter, had a lot of illegal children. The second civilization of the Bronze Age is in the Cyclades. You are visiting Cyclades, you know. These are the islands that form a circle around the sacred island of Delos, the birthplace of Apollo, the goddess of light, the god of light, the god of music, and the goddess of hunting, Diana, Artemis. This civilization is very famous for the figurines, very abstract, very modern, although they were made 4,000, 5,000 years ago. And there in the area you have a lot of marble. And of course the Parian marble is the best marble. My mother was from the island of Paros, and there is a big tradition there of sculptures. You know, some of the most important works of art, of the ancient Greek art, were carved out of the fine Parian marble. We'll see in the museum the very famous Hermes of Praxiteles. We'll also see the Nike of Paeonios. They are all made of Parian marble, and we'll also see the monumental sculptures from the pediments of the Temple of Zeus and of the metopes of the Temple of Zeus. All they are works of art made out of Parian marble. And imagine at the time it was quite difficult to transport from the Cyclades of here all this marble. You can see here on the right the old station of the train, and here there is someone who sells honey. He produces honey, another very good product of Greece. Around 20 kilometers from here we have the area of Elis. It's an archaeological site. This is the city which eventually gave its name to the whole of the area. I told you we are in the area of Elis. And this was the city that from the beginning of the 5th century, started organizing the Olympic Games. We have to bear in mind that the site, the archaeological site that we're going to visit, was not a city, it was just a sanctuary. At times this sanctuary in the beginning was controlled and the games were organized by a city called Pisa. That's why the area was called Pisatis. It was the city of the mythical king Enomaus. And the story which has to do with Enomaus and Pelops, the one who gave his name to the Peloponnese, is the subject of the east pediment of the temple of Zeus, and we are going to see these sculptures in the museum. The site that we are going to visit, we'll see how the columns of the temple of Zeus have collapsed after an earthquake in the 6th century AD. So to come back to the periods of the Greek history, I was referring to the Helladic civilization. The late phase of the Helladic civilization is the so-called Mycenaean period. We are talking about 1600 until 1100 BC. The Mycenaeans, you all have heard of them. They were the first Greeks. They didn't call themselves Mycenaeans. The scholars called them Mycenaeans because of the most important center, which is Mycenae. It's in the northeastern Peloponnese, the very famous citadel with the Lion's Gate. They called themselves Achaeans or Danai. They were very famous people. They were the people who went to conquer Troy. You know, Agamemnon, Achilles,
Troya,
Ulysses, all these people who were immortalized by Homer. And during this period, people lived in this area. During the Mycenaean period, Olympia, this area, belonged to the kingdom of Nestor. Nestor was the most sage of the kings who went to Troy, and he was mentoring the other kings. I mean, he gave them advice. His kingdom was in the southern part of southwestern part of the Peloponnese, in the area of Pylos, where they have discovered his palace. And during this period, this area belonged to the kingdom of the dynasty of Nestor. Exactly because this area was isolated, because of the geography, you know, Greeks who lived everywhere in Greece were isolated. They spoke different dialects. The idea of sport is a very ancient one and very important for the Greeks. We know, for example, that from the Iliad of Homer, that when Achilles wants to honor the memory of his friend Patroclus, he organizes games which are called in ancient Greek Patroclou Athla. Athlos also in Greek means labor. We have the labors of Hercules are called athli. And of course you can understand the word athletics, athlete, comes from this Greek word. According to a later tradition, the first games were organized here in 776 BC. In the beginning of the 19th century, we have the scientific exposition of the Morea. We call the Peloponnese also Morea. Moria in Greek is the mulberry, because we have a lot of mulberries here. And the French come, they excavate in the area. That's why some of the metopes with the 12 labors of Hercules are in the Louvre Museum today. Then we have the Greek War of Independence, and because the Greek state is very poor, they give the right, the Greek state, to the German School of Archaeology to start excavating here. And so the Germans have been excavating here since the second half of the 19th century, and they start bringing into light all the works of art, all the remains of the buildings that we're going to see. Now we have arrived to the village. I'll hand over the rest of the whispers. When we walk in the area, you have to be very careful so as not to stumble. Be careful.
Here's a device for, I guess, for you to hear the explanations on during the tour.
That's something we haven't had before.
Huh?
That's something we haven't had before.
Mm-hmm. And I guess we're here. So we have a communication device here that you can put it. Show it, Rob.
Okay, you can all hear me now.
I'm just turning it down.
We can hear him, the tour guide here, through this device.
Here on the right you can see the oldest Archaeological Museum. As you can see, it's in a neoclassical style. That means it imitates an ancient building where you have the ends of the building. You see the pediment, and above the pediment you see they have an antefix with floral decoration, or you see griffins over there on top in the central part of the building. You can see the eagle. The eagle is the sacred bird of Zeus. So we are in the sanctuary of Zeus. This museum was closed for many years because of an earthquake. They had built in the meantime the new museum that we're going to visit, and they reopened it in the year 2004 when we had the Athens Olympic Games as a museum dedicated to the Olympic Games of antiquity. So we start walking now to go to the entrance. And of course the pact was that whatever they found remains here. So everything is here, and you'll see in the museum, in the site, everything is written in 3 languages.
The weather feels pretty good.
German.
Not too hot.
In Greece we have this area with the Greeks who lived in the west, in the southern part of Italy, the Great Greece as they called it, and Sicily. Because as I told you, people came here from all over the Greek world, from the Greek colonies. You can see the river. Now it doesn't have a lot of water, but as I told you, these 2 rivers eventually covered with the silt, with the dirt, all the sanctuary.
Cool water.
So we are crossing a bridge over the river called Laveo.
Oh, there's a little bit.
We are going to the entrance. Does any of you need to go to the restroom? Do you need a small break in case somebody wants to go to the toilet, or we go to the entrance?
Do you need,
What do you want?
do you need restroom?
You see, I'm a democratic guy.
If you're coming on your own, your ticket right here once you get to the site.
We can wait here in the shade. So eventually everyone wants to go to the restroom. Perhaps I shouldn't have mentioned the restroom.
We are here at the Archaeological Site of Olympia, home of the ancient Olympic Games, and obviously it's just ruins and due to several earthquakes, and we're ready to explore this. And about 40 minutes on the ride on the bus to get here, and the tour guide was actually very informative, like a lot of history details. It kind of took me back to the 5th grade where I started studying history, and it was kind of nice.
I can hear you in my ear.
You can?
Yeah.
Also, and that's a microphone as well, is it?
No, but his microphone is very sensitive.
We're now officially getting here at the Archaeological Site of Olympia.
So I welcome you to the Archaeological Site of Olympia. As you can see, an
Hold it.
only natural. It's part of the catalog of UNESCO World Heritage. As you can see, they are still excavating.
You stick it.
Να ρωτήσω, μέτρησες?
Όχι, δεν μέτρησα.
Here you can see the plan, and you can see the sanctuary is divided in two. There is the central floor, big central floor. On this side, you have the monument. As I told you, the sanctuary is divided. And here on the right, we have the gymnasium. The gymnasium, as you can see, 2-3 years ago, they brought into life these columns, and you can see the difference between these columns that have been brought into life now recently, and the others which were exposed to the sun, to the wind, to the rain for more than a century. They have lost over there this original surface. As you can see, these columns are stuck. Over there you can see the outer colonnade, and of course you can see these are Doric columns. You know, in ancient Greek architecture we had the Doric, we had the Ionic, and we had the Corinthian. Here we're going to see columns of all these types, and now they have put back together, as you can see, two of the columns, and they are continuing. I don't know what they have found over there. So this is the gymnasium. This part of the gymnasium over there, because it was a rectangular, a very long. Ascetic entrance with Corinthian capital. And I told you that here they also had a lot of public baths because they needed water. Okay, over here.
This was like recently discovered because
You can see the
the
baths,
date
the
2014-2020.
thermos in Greek
So
means
this area is basically they're still digging.
and they belong to different periods, they have different phases. These are all the thermal chromium. Chromium is that hill over there. And of course you can see we are in the Roman period here because we have all these bricks. When you see bricks, we are in the Roman period. Okay, in the center over there, now we cannot see it, they have a very beautiful shell. And as I told you, everything was tackled to give the idea of marble. We are going to sit over there under the, what tree is this? You can recognize the tree. Oak tree. This is oak. So under mens sana in corpore sana. A healthy mind in a healthy body. Although Socrates, for example, who was not an athletic guy, believed that sometimes it's very difficult to be a very clever person when you only try to do a workout every day. Okay, so it was a bit complicated. It was the ancient pentathlon. So here you have to imagine that the athletes, the runners, the athletes of the javelin, the discus throwers, the discobolus, as we call them, used to practice their sport before
This
they
still
went to
definitely
the
looks
stadium.
like a
Now we are
temple.
going to see another building, which is called Palestra, and here on the left you can see Corinthian columns. They belong to a section. It's the style of the Peloponnese of continental Greece. The Doric column basically is a petri buildings were made of wood, and later they transferred these wooden structures into the rocks. Okay. Here we have moved to a second kind of gym. This is called palestra. Okay. Can you recognize these kinds of columns? What columns are these? And you can see over there also the pillar of the walls. These are ionic. You notice the difference with the volume. And these are Doric. So here we have a combination between ionics. You also see the base here is different. This one and this one is more simple. In general, the Doric order is more simple. Okay.
Something that the tour guide did not show. There's still like some things written on these columns.
We know that there were people, the judges of the game, who were ready with the stick.
Wow.
So this building is called Philippion. It has taken its name from Philip II, the father of the long jump. The runner, the athletes of the speed and the athletes of the javelin were in this building over there. Okay. So as you see, defeated. Λέγεται. Ναι, εγώ είμαι. Ναι, ακούω. What the building looks like. This is early 7th century BC. As you can see, the Doric peripheral temple. It has 6 columns at the end and 16 columns at the side. This is probably called the modern would be to have at the side quite a number of columns.
Look who we found here. Stop following us.
Stalking you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Explorer.
Hi.
So this is the altar. You can see over there there is a photo
Mm-hmm.
of this ceremony. This is organized when we have the game. First of all, you can see where the modern road is. I don't know if you can calculate how many meters they are. The level of the site of the end. Over there you can see a terrace. This is the terrace of the treasuries.
Even this simple hole right here has a huge meaning. They found a lot of vases and stuff here.
And the last over there before the entrance to the stadium, I don't know if you can read Greek, there is also the name of the sculptor. It says this was made by, I don't know if you can read it. It's a very well-known thing.
We are now entering the Olympic Stadium.
From the changing room of the athletes to the stadium, and you can see how it is. There in EMEA we have the American School of Archaeology.
This is the stadium, guys.
The fact that I made it a lap.
Yeah, but you walk on the man. He came from the island of Rhodes. He belonged to a family who had a long tradition of winners of the Pan-Hellenic Games. Her father, her brothers were...
Guys, check this out. This simple field right here behind me, the first Olympic stadium. Pretty cool.
the sacred part. It moved a little bit to the east. This, according to the scholars, shows us everything in the past time also, here there was a hippodrome in this direction. As I told you, even in the beginning, there was this early chariot race between Pelops and Nomos. The ancient Greeks were really crazy about races with horses, with mules, even with donkeys. And in this area over there was a hippodrome. Of course, nothing is left of the hippodrome. It was carried away by the waters of the river. And there was there a similar construction that forced all the horses or the charioteers to start running at the same time. It's like, I don't know if you have seen Ben-Hur. This is the same thing. Like over there we had for the runners. So I told you that the third day of the games was the most important. Because we had the pentathlon, we also had the beginning of the chariot races and of the races of the horses, etc. Then in the fourth day the games continued, and the fifth day there was the closing ceremony. Only the first winner took a wreath, which had to be cut off from the branches of the sacred olive tree, which was near the temple of Zeus over there, by a child, a young boy who had both his parents. He was called Amphithalis Pes. You know, amphi in Greek means both. Amphitheater. So Amphithalis means that he was not an orphan. He had both his parents, and he cut these branches with a golden sickle.
It's Rob enjoying a little walk. See what this colony is about. Right here.
So come this way.
What's his monument of Ptolemy II?
So it was someone who his name was Mark, and he came from Antioch. Antioch is one of the Hellenistic kingdoms of this vast empire that Alexander the Great created. And it's written here Nikisas. Nikisas means having won. So he was a victor, a winner in the games, but in the event held here for Pedas. Pedagogics, you know, Pes is a young man, the one who is not, he's still an adolescent. So here they also organize games dedicated to Hera, Juno, the consort of Zeus, but the girls who took part came only from the area here, and they were dressed. There was a race where the girls participated. So girls were present, but not during the games over there. Over there where the other group is, you can see the part of the pedestal. We'll see the rest of it in the museum. This is where we have the very important statue of Nike, the winged of victory, the representation of victory. And this divinity, Nike means victory. It was dedicated to the sanctuary by the people of Messenia. They were the Helots of the Spartans.
We live, we learn. Nike, like the brand, means
so
victory.
They found an opportunity. Was, Look. And of course you can see everywhere the same kind of stone. You see the shells over there. It's quite evident they use the local limestone with the fossilized seashells. Look.
Cemeteries.
But we are very lucky because we have the sculptures from the pediment, the two pediments, and also the sculptures of the metopes. So here in the pediment there was the scene of the preparation of the chariot race between Pelops and the Nomaus. We'll see them in the museum. On the west side they were able to build this gigantic temple which is considered the canon of Doric architecture. And you can see here a gigantic, what is this? This piece, what is it? German School of Archaeology decided to erect this over there in the rear exit. Okay? I told you that the athletes who took part this way to the left. The athletes who took part in the games in the beginning at least.
Big part here, the Temple of Zeus.
But of course, when they won, they hit the globe. And of course,
And this big column here, it's basically what is left from the Temple of Zeus. I heard another Spanish tour guide saying that that column is a replica. I'm not sure. I actually did not hear that from our tour guide. So I'm gonna do a research after this to find out. Now let's go to the second part of this tour, the Museum of Olympia.
we are 45, I'm counting and you are 50. We are more.
The tour description said like it was a moderate walk. Rob disagree, but it's kind of true. It involves a lot of walking, even though it's a small site. We have to go around a bunch of things, and the ground is very uneven. So be prepared for physical activity. I'm enjoying so far. Beautiful here, and the history of this place is amazing. We are now at the Museum of Olympia, which is right next to the archaeological site.
Now you can tell them all. I think in 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Right here at the entrance we have several marble pieces from the temple. also these columns here. Ionian capital made of limestone. Ooh, amazing. This is huge. Torso of Emperor August, and the type of Zeus made of marble in Attica. Amazing. Getting ready to go inside the museum.
Shortly after the end of the Persian War. It symbolizes the, because you can see over there, that the battle held Attica. We began our visit from this area, the gymnasium, the king. Then we entered the palestra. This over here is the work of Phidias. Over there is the big hotel for the VIPs, let's say, of the time, of the 4th century. And then we entered here. The first building we saw was the Philippion. Then we saw
Here is the actual archaeological site in Olympia that we just visited the ruins, but the way it looked in the past. The temple of Zeus and the field where the games were. Moving on. In this room there's some pieces of the things found on that archaeological site.
these faces which come from the Assyrian tradition, from the Middle East.
They are numbered, so if you look, for example, 11, and then you go here and 11. In English, obviously. Small one handled cup. So tiny. Wow. All of these things found from centuries ago. And here is where they found. Oh, this one is amazing. Number 4. Conical petiform jar, decorated with spiral pattern. Chamber tomb A. Now we're moving on to another room. This one, wow. Now these are amazing. Number 5. The handle of a cauldron. I would never tell this is a handle of a cauldron.
And of course you can see the shields Here in the middle one and in the one on the right, you can see the Medusa, the Gorgon, with this very ugly head. She looks like with the sole purpose of being offered.
Bronze defensive
Here we
equipment.
move into the contact Greek pottery.
My God, look at this shoe. Bronze defensive equipment.
And of course here you can see stone with fake clay, terracotta, also with wood.
This is amazing.
Combination. Here you can see this lion. You know in ancient Greece the word lion.
Now look at this whole display here with Corinthian helmets.
One of the defeated giants, and in the center you have Zeus, as I told you according to the version, he was the one who found the gates after he won in this battle against giants.
A colossal limestone female head.
Here again you have a combination of stone and baked clay.
And we are moving on.
But Mount Olympus is very far, it's up in the north of Macedonia. But because this was the dwelling of Zeus and of the other gods, that's why this area is called Olympus. So he's carrying an image
Pieces
the
of
young man
architecture
came from Troy to
from
the
different buildings
dwelling
and
of the gods.
sanctuaries.
He's going to be the one who will pour the ambrosia into the cups of the gods. And he's holding this rooster. This is a symbol of erotic desire. This
Wow.
is very well.
This is like a whole top of a temple
And
or
over here
something.
you can see a dolphin, a lion, this clay sculpture, and this is the head of goddess Athena with the almond
Treasury of the Megarians.
very beautiful. And they believe it was part of a decoration of a building. It was not known. Instead of an crucifix or an acroterion, they had this.
Here's another room. Number 3 and number 4.
Was a beautiful young man. He was picked up by Zeus, so the big statue is Zeus.
And he's handing over the bird. He was well saved.
Another one.
Then he went.
In this next room here we have more things from the Temple of Zeus. That's the huge statue that used to be inside this temple. don't know what's behind the door, but I think it's more statues. Yeah.
They brought here this work of Praxiteles, who was an Athenian. Praxiteles had caused the scandal because he was the first sculptor. We go to the next hall here on the left. Here you have architectural elements from the buildings we have seen. You can see over there from the Stoa of the Echo, the portico. And here you have statues of the family of Herodotus and of the Roman imperial family. Herodotus had very close ties to the imperial family. He was a friend of Hadrian, and he had taught Greek. Marcus Aurelius, can you read his written here? Here is written, can you read? 4 letters. What does it mean? This is Ipsilon, the in Greek. This is Delta. Omega, Rho, Ito. What does Ito mean? Hydraulic, what does it mean? Hydraulic. What? Hydor is water. So it says that this water is dedicated to his wife, and everything around the water is dedicated to Zeus. And here we have a statue of Hadrian. There is a similar one in the Agora of Athens, and it's interesting to take a look at the breastplate, because here we have what we call the Greco-Roman civilization. You see the shield of Rome, with Romulus and Remus, breastfeeding these two. And here you have the owl, the symbol of the sacred bird of Goddess Athena, the snake. And this statue of Goddess Athena, crowned by 2 winged victories. So this is the Greco-Roman civilization. On the breastplate of Hadrian. And the last thing we see, this is a very beautiful statue of Agrippina. She was the wife of Claudius.
Now a free time here at the gift shop. So you got souvenirs right at the exit. Do you like the tour, Rob?
It was interesting. Educational.
I loved it.
I heard souvlaki is delicious, so I'm gonna look for a place to get some. If you're in Greece, I highly recommend to try this. Back to the port area, and there's the beyond and the constellation.
I wish you a very pleasant continuation of your cruise. You are going to visit really wonderful places. Tomorrow you'll be in the area of Piraeus, Athens, and you're going to visit the islands. Please remember to take all the things from the bus. Our helper, I'd like to thank our driver, Mr. Nectarios, for this. This is an area very rich in history and culture. You have other important sites, and the Peloponnese is one of the most beautiful areas of Athens. There are a lot of things to see, so we hope to have you back again, perhaps with when you have more time to go around. So thank you, and
Celebrity Beyond Cruise in Olympia. Had an amazing time.
Sure did. It was a lot of fun.
Packed of history and olive trees. I saw olive trees everywhere. And we're gonna finish this day, this afternoon, with Souvlaki. Back on board of the Beyond from Olympia. Our first stop. It was amazing. Walking on the runway. Walk, shake it. Now shablam. Give me. Proud of you, boo. End of the day, after all that walking, you're still in good mood. Amazing. Back to the port here from Olympia, and we are in our balcony now. Our lunch. What's the name of that, Rob? He forgot already. I'm sure he did.
No idea. All I know is damn good. That's all.
My God.
Wow.
Souvlaki. Oh my God. From a restaurant right next to the Archaeological site, but we couldn't eat on the bus, so we saved for the ship. And oh my God. I'm gonna do it now.
You're gonna do it now? Oh yeah, Guga. Yeah. This is a good sandwich. This is something you need to try. You'll only hear it right here on Guga and Rob. It's Souvlaki.
Yes, you got it. They have pork and other kind of meat, I think, options, but you can't go wrong with chicken because I love chicken. So, absolutely delicious.
No, it's got, this one has chicken. They put fries on top of it.
Oh yeah, it comes with fries.
Comes with some kind of sauce. I don't know what
The
that,
dressing is delicious too.
and there's pickles in it. And I love that combination.
Great way to finish this tour here in Olympia. So, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to leave your like and leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about this video.
Yeah.
And until next time, thank you guys. And thank you for the
you.
membership and the Patreon members.
Yeah. And Lori Stern and Patty Grant. Thank you.
Love you guys.
We love you guys.